The Kansas City Chiefs have re-signed wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster to a one-year deal, and we're going to talk about that in this video. My name is Michael Darcy. He's Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and Arrowhead Addict, and we're going to talk about how Juju Smith-Schuster is going to fit in this offense in 2025. Josh, I want to get your first initial thoughts on this signing. I know that it doesn't seem like much of a surprise, but who would have thought that after last year, before he even ended up back on the Chiefs, that Juju Smith-Schuster would be on this team not only in 2024, but in 2025 as well?
You know, the thing is, when he was cut, I feel like we all kind of saw it coming when he got cut from the Patriots and then came back to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like there's no way they don't bring him in, right? Just another familiar face. And last year was kind of like the year of reunions for the Kansas City Chiefs. But, you know, Michael, I have no issue with it because I like Juju Smith-Schuster a lot, not only as a player, but as a person, as a locker room personality. I just think he's great. I think he really lifts up the team spirit. But he's also a guy that in big moments has consistently shown up for the Kansas City Chiefs. They kind of hold them together with duct tape during the regular season, especially with like those injuries. But when it comes time to play, Juju Smith-Schuster's there. And he's also a great blocking receiver down the field, which I think goes untalked about a lot.
When Josh, I forgot to show it. This is on me. I'm going to go ahead and show that graphic from Jordan Schultz that the Chiefs are re-signing Juju Smith-Schuster to a one-year deal. A new weapon for Patrick Mahomes, or I guess a key weapon for Patrick Mahomes, stays in Kansas City. I wanted to show that because I went to the time of making it, so you guys might as well see it. But I do think that this offers more flexibility in terms of what you do in the draft, in terms of how you go about your business the rest of free agency. Because while there were wide receivers out there like Cooper Kupp and a couple key other free agents like Devontae Adams, those weren't super realistic. Juju Smith-Schuster seemed like a realistic option, a fit for this offense. And it's not really a surprise that he's back on this team after last year when he got cut by the Patriots. He found his way back in Kansas City after they did cut him. So I do think this is a good signing. If he's your wide receiver 4, he's a great wide receiver 4. And now you've got, Xavier Worthy, you've got Rashee Rice, you have Hollywood Brown, now Juju Smith-Schuster. You'll probably spend a fairly high draft pick on a wide receiver, assuming that there's one in the draft that you like. And so, Josh, we talked about this on your video. The Chiefs' wide receiver room might be the best that it's been in quite a while.
Yeah, just from a talent standpoint and explosiveness standpoint, assuming they do draft a receiver relatively high, like I'll just throw out a name, but the Iowa State kid whose name escapes me at the moment.
Jalen Noel?
Yes, I believe so. If you were to bring him in, Jalen Noel or Jalen Royals from Utah State, I know he's a popular one. If you add that in with Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and assuming everyone's back and healthy and there's nothing else going on there, like everyone's actually on the field, man, that's a damn good talented wide receiver core. And it's the best position I think the Chiefs would be in a long time. And at that point, Juju Smith-Schuster would be wide receiver 5. And I mean, if Juju Smith-Schuster is your wide receiver 5, someone who can start if needed, even in the wake of injuries, and if he's someone that you need just for those blocking snaps, I mean, he's a great guy to have in the room. And I think he's a reliable veteran. He's going to teach some of the younger guys, take them under his wing. He's going to push these guys in practice. And I mean, I think that think about it. This was a guy that was your wide receiver 1 2 years ago for that Super Bowl winning team. And you fast forward 2 years later, and he's probably your wide receiver 5 after the conclusion of the NFL draft. I just think that's a great spot to be in.
And he's had his fair share of injury problems. That knee injury has been something that has nagged him for a while, and it's really the reason that he didn't work out in New England. But I think that this is one of those signings that he's the Justin Watson replacement. Justin Watson signed that contract down in Houston. He's no longer here. The Chiefs wanted to go with someone that had familiarity with this offense, and Juju Smith-Schuster is just the perfect fit for that. And I think that if he fits the Justin Watson, role, this is a fantastic signing. And now Justin Watson wasn't, magnificent in Kansas City, but he did his job. He was able to make a couple big catches down the stretch, and he fit exactly what the Chiefs needed him to do. And I think that's exactly what Juju Smith-Schuster is going to do in 2025. And I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow finds his way back on this team next year.
Yeah, and the other thing about it too is like the money wasn't even mentioned for his contract in the Jordan Schultz tweet. And a lot of times when the money's not mentioned, you know that it's super cheap. Because if the money was good, not saying it's not good for Juju, and I mean, I'm sure he's fully accepted, this stage of his career, and he's just happy to be in Kansas City, and that's awesome. But a lot of times when they don't put in the money, it's because it's nothing really to brag about. And that means he's back probably for close to the veterans minimum. And I mean, you'll take Juju for the veterans minimum as a guy who, on the right day can give you 100 yards, 60 yards, which we saw several times last year.
Well, and also we're on what, day 5, 6 of free agency. Most of the big names are gone now, and these are where teams go out and find depth at positions, and Juju is exactly that. And like you said, the money wasn't specified because it's going to be very low. And what's the saying? I mean, the saying goes, there's no such thing as a bad one-year contract, especially with Juju Smith-Schuster, who not only knows this offense, but has shown that he can produce, multiple years apart. Like he was good last year, in stretches where I was like, are we going to see DeAndre Hopkins step up in this moment? And it wasn't him. It was Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We talked about this on my channel just a few minutes ago, but I mean, it's crazy to say, and no one would have said it a year ago, but who's more likely to have a 100-yard game in the year 2025 between Juju and D-Hop? I think it's Juju, because I think we saw down the stretch there, D-Hop, he just couldn't move. He's declined athletically, and yeah, he had a couple catches here and there, and it's like, wow. But he also dropped quite a few, including a wide open pass in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Can we talk about how the Ravens are like the graveyard where wide receivers go to die? Like they seem to just pick up all of the wide receivers that have nothing left. I remember hearing that Odell Beckham Jr. was going to be a monster in Baltimore, and he was not very good. What was his stat line? I don't even know. Listen,
he had like 500 yards.
Was it that good? Okay. I don't know where OBJ is at right now. He might be out of the league, but listen.
He might be going to jail, Michael, if you've been keeping up with the news, but that's neither here nor there.
I learned over this past week to not touch certain matters after some Chiefs fans voiced their, I don't want to say, well, they weren't very happy with me over the
uneducated
weekend,
opinion, Michael.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. But Josh, I think that's really all we have for this video. Again, Chiefs Kingdom, the Chiefs are re-signing wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster to a one-year deal. We do not know the contract money, but I would assume that it's a little more than a one-year deal for a veteran. Maybe it's a vet minimum. Who knows? But, it's very affordable. He fits their scheme. And I think that there's really not much to dislike about this signing.
No, and honestly, there's not much to dislike about what the Chiefs have done in free agency. Like, I really don't know how you could be complaining about any of these moves. I mean, and I said it already, like, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So, like, obviously the goal is still to add, especially in the NFL draft, like to hit on those picks. That is the goal. That is the plan. But for the most part, I don't think there's anything bad about bringing mostly everyone back from the team that was one game away from 3 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah. And while the result in that game wasn't great, we don't have to talk about that, but they got to that point, and I think we could all agree they didn't really look that great. Like they could have been way better offensively, and you're in a position
like the goal
where,
is still to get better this offseason. The goal is to get more young, more
Yes.
explosive on offense. But I mean, still, there were guys that helped the team get there this year. Juju was one of those guys. I'm happy to see him back.
And it seems like they picked the guy between DeAndre Hopkins and Juju Smith-Schuster that had the higher upside in 2025. If we're talking, 2022, that's a very different conversation. But Juju's younger. He knows this offense better. And I think that it's probably a better fit schematically, at this stage in their careers for this Chiefs team. So, Josh, that is all the time we have in this video. My final question for you is, where can the people find you?
You can find me here on YouTube, Show Me Football. That's the channel name. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com, arrowheadaddict.com. Last but not least, follow me on Twitter at ShowMeFB.
And guys, all that stuff will be linked in the description of this video. Hit that like button. Also subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.